to Brainwaves, a show for Africa by African youth. So today we're gonna be having a very interesting topic, which is suicide. Africa has been identified as the most leading region. The region with the most suicide reports according to the world records. So we will be tackling that whole matter together. I don't know that came out from, but yes. So the main objective of this whole conversation is for us to discuss all the things around suicide, the causes, how we can stop it, since it is reported as one of the most challenging obstacles in Africa. So I'm your host, Happiness Franto, and I will be leading this conversation. I also have my amazing host, George. George, I can't see you. I'm here stuttering alone. Hello, George.
Hi, Happiness. I'm getting my visuals in just a few right now.
Alrighty. You know, my start was very, very bad, and I think it's because we are delayed. So let me first apologize to the viewers and listeners at home for the delay. We were experiencing technical problems, so we are very, very sorry. So yes, maybe I can start all over. As you all know, this show was created with an aim of making Africa a better place for us and the generations that will come after us. So what we have been doing is that we have been identifying challenges or the problems in Africa with the aim of finding solutions. So one of the problems or challenges that we have identified is suicide. This is followed by the previous events that we've seen on TV, on the media, in our societies. We've been hearing that a lot of people are dying. And then I'm just going to be realistic about this whole thing. The only time you start talking about it is when a celebrity dies. So, and then the question is, Maramutolo has money, the person has money, why would they commit suicide? And that is why we're having this conversation today. So we'll be talking about causes, we'll be talking about people that are at risk, we'll be talking about the obstacles and challenges around suicide, we'll be talking about treatment and a whole lot more. So please stay tuned. Don't forget to share this airing. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Bold Moves Radio. Also follow and like our page here on Facebook. It's Bold Moves Radio. We are here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Yes, now I can see my amazing co-host, Judge of the Jungle, Dumela.
Yeah, Dumela Happiness. I'm glad for a start this week. We had some technical issues last week, and I'm just glad that we are back to engage with our audience through this important topic. So yeah, I'm just really looking forward to the rest of the show. Just wanna say to our audience they must come in, got in numbers, and just make sure that you invite your friends, your family. I mean, this is it's we declare Ramaphosa orile declare COVID orile king.
State of
We declare this
emergency.
is a pandemic.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the state of state of emergency. So we are declaring this topic that we are having today as a state of emergency. So we would really like to have all our audience having to come together along with their friends and families to discuss about this matter. Okay, I having some technical issues, and like she said, we're gonna be Happiness.
Yes, I think I was
Okay.
losing you, so I'm not sure if it's my network or yours. I'm just trying to check mine right now.
Oh, okay, that's okay. I don't know what's happening today. A lot of places are experiencing a lot of, network problems because of load shedding. I don't know why, but we're gonna remain resilient and continue with the show. And like my host said, we're gonna be talking about suicide. And she did mention something important to say. There's a lot of people out there who have money, and we are here to find out as to what is really the cause of that, because we are really asking ourselves, or why is it that you be having what people see as everything, and still you get to go through such a tragedy. So let's get to address this issues.
Yes, George, before we get deep into the conversation, you look like a Ricky Rick fan. Are you?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm not his fan. I'm a fan of good music, so certain music of his was inspirational, because
Mm.
he was a bubbly person. His music spoke to the youth. He was just all about youth. He dedicated himself to uplifting young people, and hence
So how did
the
you feel?
entire.
How
I
did
was
you
really
feel when
shocked.
you learned about his passing?
I was shocked. For a second I thought it was a joke. I was like, no, this can't be true, right? Because I remember I even went to his Twitter account, and I saw a post, and it kind of made it relevant to what I've read. And I was like, is it this really true? And it kicked in, having to see all those trends, having to see his death becoming, the number one trend on Twitter. And I was like, ish. I couldn't believe it, but then reality kicked in, and I just had to accept. Alright, that's really the news.
All right, yeah. And I know a lot of people, I've seen like a lot of posts on Facebook, especially people saying, but he had everything. He had money, he had a nice family. Why would he commit suicide? Like that was the question that was going around Hornam, and this guy was like the dream. Why would he do it? So I think the misconception is that money solves everything. In as much as we believe that money can buy this and that, it cannot buy everything. And today, as I've said, we'll be talking about other causes that are not money related that could lead to one committing suicide. Before we get into it, I'm just going to quote a couple of statistics. As I've said when we started the show, Africa is the most suicidal region, with Lesotho and South Africa leading with suicidal rates. So what I'm curious about is that what is really happening in South Africa and Lesotho that makes the stats to go really high? Do you have an idea, Josh? Because I've been thinking about it almost the whole day, but I just don't know. What could be the reason?
I think it's. I remember we once had a conversation about something to do with depression and stuff. I think it's more about the cultural stigmatization man. When you are a cultural orientated man, you should be strong and all that. And the
No,
reality is that we
George,
are all human.
let me cut you off right there. Again, right now, Cereblela, South Africa and Lesotho. And then, okay,
Yeah.
in my opinion, I feel like, especially these two countries, they are not so cultural like the other countries in Africa. So can we really take that direction, yeah, culture?
Okay. Well, I think it like Oyagan now, from my point of view, like it's just that, like I've seen it from that perspective. I wouldn't say it means it's that's the main thing, But then I'm just saying what it's just one of those contributing factors, because Arulaga states obviously one country has to come on top. So based on the stats that you just given us, it says Africa, right? And it gets to include certain countries. Hence, I get to say or it's more cultural thing of African people. But it just turns out or our country happens to be the one that it's leading in front in terms of numbers.
Okay. Okay, I'll let you get away with that one. So the second stat that I got is that for every one person that successfully commits suicide, there are 10 people that attempted suicide. So if we are somebody who just know that there are 10 people out there that tried committing suicide. How hectic is that? How George from Blue Chick. And then the
Like, it's
other
really
one
hectic.
is that.
Am I still audible? Am I still audible?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You are. And then there's also another statistic that says more women than men attempt to commit suicide, but more men than women successfully commit suicide. So more women try to commit suicide, and then more men are successful with committing suicide. And then the reason for all of that is that women use less harsh objects or ways to try to commit suicide. They'll do things like overdosing, food poisoning, and all that, versus men just tuna or tipa, like those harsh ways to commit suicide. That's why the stats are higher than women. But in terms of numbers, study attempts, women try to commit suicide more than men. And then the last one that I have in my book is that before COVID-19, the Suicidal organization lodged about 600 calls per day for the people trying to commit suicide or people that know somebody that wants to commit suicide. But as of the 1st of September 2021, which was during the COVID time, 2020, is it 2020? Yeah, 2020. The number moved from 600 per day to 2,200, about 2,200 calls per day. So the numbers just skyrocketed. So I want to know from you, George, what do you think was there during the pandemic that made people want to commit suicide more?
Okay, I'm gonna put it like this. It's not stated or it's a woman or it's men, right? It's just stated or the numbers went high, and I'd like to think what men played a huge role in those numbers, and I feel or it's still, it takes me back to the fact that as men, we still have that thing, or we cannot fail providing for our families. And when COVID hit, a lot of people is in the country lost their jobs, and having to have yourself in a place where you are the one who as a then at that time you are unable to provide for your, like, it gets to give you that sense that you are less like our, and is I wouldn't really validate or it's a good reason for one to commit suicide, but then I think it's just one of those things that I think they played a role in having to have these numbers going up like that.
Yeah. So I have a comment that was answering the first question that I asked you about these two countries, South Africa
Yeah.
and Botswana. It says one of the most contributing factors to suicide in these two countries is the living conditions. South Africa is not exactly a nice place to be at. We barely can afford to be alive, never mind the therapy. And I do agree. Well, especially when we are looking at our justice, like our justice system is very, very poor. I actually wish we had a justice system that was similar to the guys in Botswana. If you check Botswana's records, they are very clean. Well, they can't be sparkling clean, but I think they do whatever in the power to protect their people versus South Africa, like this whole justice system works, actually goes out of their way to protect the criminals. Check with my friend
Yeah.
about how you see in America they'll take pictures of Ditsotsi and publish them, have them in the records, and people can see them on TV. You know, they take everybody's fingerprint. By the time you get arrested, they already know this fingerprints ke jaga George. Versus South Africa, I still have a case, which happened in
Yeah.
2017. I'm sure they've closed it now. There was a break-in. Fingerprints. Till this day, we haven't gotten any response. So the justice system in South Africa is very bad. Never mind, like also the employment rate, they are very, 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 very high. The third thing that I can include in here, I spoke of, oh, I spoke of unemployment. I spoke about the injustice, and thirdly, I think also it can account to the a higher rate of HIV, because a lot of people don't have proper education about it. The minute somebody tests positive, they think of committing suicide. So that could be a factor. So I see George has disappeared. We move on to the next. Well, to answer this thing, I mean, the question, the increased suicidal rates during COVID. Um, our research suggested it was because of one, isolation. A lot of people went through isolation. And you know, when you're alone, you just go through thoughts. Like be in a space by yourself for so long, your mind is gonna go a bit cuckoo. The
Yeah.
second one, kitabaya, uncertainty and anxiety. A lot of us were really scared. Banaba Skolo, they were anxious about how they're gonna go with their studies because everything just stopped for a while, and people that worked anxious about retrenchments. People who didn't work were anxious about finding employment. It was just a lot. And the third one was the economic strain. If you check during COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs. That's just hectic. People couldn't afford anymore. So that also plays a role, especially for men, because it has recorded that more men have committed suicide during that period. I think men are used to be providers. So immediately you lose your source of income, you just tend to think that you are useless, you cannot do anything for your family, and think an easy way out is suicide. Sad. And it takes me back to that conversation, men's conference. How can we really support them? Because in some cases, the women really don't mind. They actually want to go out there and provide for their family, but ego, man, ego, it's what's killing them. So if you missed the episode, go check it out on our YouTube page, Bold News Radio. It was a festive special titled Men's Conference. They did talk about factors relating to ego and all. So if you missed it, please go watch it. Um, why do you think there are people that try to commit suicide in situations where others wouldn't?
Yeah, like that's a tricky question because that's what people are constantly asking themselves. Like honestly, like for instance, person as someone who has everything, and we spoke about COVID or what they felt or they were not able to for their family, and this is someone we were kind of sure they can for their family, and yet they were still able to go through such a thing. And like it's still in as I'm trying to get the like different sources of why this thing could happen. Like I'm still trying to make sense of everything, because I'm thinking what a this thing, it comes when you get to be anxious about your life, having a lot of uncertainties, and all those things are the causes of having to have problems. And a lot of I'd like to think or a lot of problems are financial problems, but then I'm just not sure what those that do not require finances, are they really, 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 really that harsh to push one to take such a decision? Because I'm still trying to make sense of it. Honestly, I'm still trying to make sense of it.
You're one of those people that support money solves everything. Like you don't understand when
Not
somebody
hundred
that has
percent,
money
not
commits
100%,
suicide.
because look, as much as you'll have money, there will be days where you're gonna be emotionally at 0% level. But I still think, or okay, there's this one time that we got to speak about this situation, or there's a lot of people out there who get to go through tough situations, but it's more visible to those who really don't have money. And those who have money, some like in a way they get to use that money to cover the situation up. So I always get to ask myself, or if you have money, I wouldn't really promote to say try to distract yourself, but then why can't you just try to find a temporary solution to your problem through using that money, and then advance to better solutions to really have your problems sorted out. But then it's just one of those things that you wouldn't really have a full judgment on, because you just never get to know what people are going through, honestly.
Yeah, George, thing is, we are so glued on the fact that the cost of suicide is money related. But we are neglecting other costs like PTSD, um, past trauma. How do you clear off past trauma with money? I mean, you can try counseling and therapy for so long, but if you yourself cannot take it, you can't. So there are a lot of factors that we are also
Yeah,
going to
that's
talk about right now that are the causes or possible causes for suicide. Um, Before we get on to them, please make sure that you share this airing. Please share it on Facebook, share it on WhatsApp, wherever you can share it. Invite more people to watch this so that we can tackle this matter together. We can find the solutions together. Um, so, George, as I was saying, there are other possible causes of death that are not money related, which I would like for us to discuss. Can you think of any right now?
uh for instance, there's people who are, I've seen, and the stats is very high. People go through a lot of abuse, not just only physical abuse, but then emotional abuse. There's people who get to be made feel or they are not enough, and that somehow gets to hurt their feelings in a way that they don't even realize their worth anymore. And it's just one of those moilore you can find someone or they get to feel like that, and they end up taking such decisions. And other than that, like you mentioned earlier on, post-trauma, I mean, there's people who went through certain things that they don't speak about, and they get without having to speak to people or trying to find solutions to them. But then having to sit with something for so long and have it kill you inside, it may result into such.
100%. I would also want to say to our audience of viewers, did I just say audience of viewers, and listeners at home? I will be sharing information that I got from credible sources. So please, it's not my opinion. It's not George's opinion or Baywave Radio. This is information, facts actually, that we got from research sites. We wanted to have a psychologist, a suicide psychologist in the house, but unfortunately, they had a few inconveniences at the end. That's why they're not here. But if this continues to be a series, then we will invite them to answer any questions that we cannot answer right now. But if you have any questions about suicide or things that you would like for us to cover, make sure to drop them down in the comments section. Don't forget to hit the like button and share. So I'll be also going through the causes that I found while doing the research. The first one is hurt. Some people can be hurt so much. They can be hurt so much, and they decide the way to deal with that pain is just to hoy. And these are people that cannot express their feelings. So they feel like people don't really get their pain, I'm saying George dumped me, and people are like, get over it. He's just a boy. You'll find, what's the thing? The bigger, what? Sharks? Bigger, many fish in the sea or something. That whole...
Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem is I would be attached to that fish. And yeah, we've had a conversation, or we touched a bit about things like soul ties. If you haven't watched the episode, it's there on our YouTube channel, Baltimore's Video. The first one is hurt. The second one, it's anger. Anger can be very dangerous, people. Some people get so angry to a point where they just become impulsive. I know a lot of impulsive people, you know what, if this one is angry, just run. So yeah, the second one is anger. The third one is guilt. Guilt, honestly, I cannot find a proper way I can suggest to somebody who's going through guilt. Some people have a guilt that they killed somebody or somebody died because of them. Guilt is just a weird thing, honestly. And sometimes it's not even you, but you can't shake off the feeling that you get. That's what guilt does. The other one is embarrassment. If you check a lot of kids that have committed suicide back in primary and high school, well, bullying plays a role, but another major role is embarrassment. Being embarrassed or now, but she was trending, or my ugly picture was trending, whatnot. So embarrassment can lead to somebody taking their life. So please also pay take note of your jokes, because sometimes you say a joke, but it could embarrass the other person. Actually, most jokes, the joke embarrass the other person. Some people can't take it well. So unless you have that type of a relationship, refrain from joking about another person or
Yeah,
bullying them. Uh,
that's
yeah.
yeah, that's true, happiness. Because we remember we also had a case in Venda where a school child was embarrassed through a fight, and we just thought it was a fight and it fell out no. But then the child had to take extensive measures of having to, commit suicide, and it shows how serious it is, to have to humiliate people in public. Like, some people don't take it lightly, and unfortunately they don't know how to deal with it, and they just uh take the other route. And we must do better. And I think that there's a lot that we can do to try to eliminate the stats of suicide from that perspective, because somehow you get to play a role through something that you just undermine. So we should really take matters seriously in such cases.
100%. So what you're saying, it goes back to that question that I asked you, Akore. What makes other people commit suicide in situations where other people wouldn't? So there's other kids in primary or high school that experienced bullying but still didn't commit suicide. So what is the difference between these people? I don't want to categorize them, but yeah, what is the difference between them? And my research, or the research that we got, suggested that it's because of depression. It's one of the leading reasons why some people commit suicide in situations where others wouldn't. So and you doing something just becomes like the last straw. So you could find out
Yeah.
that I'm experiencing self-esteem issues about how I look, and then you just come in front of the assembly and say, "Bonang happiness or like that'll be it." Like cut. So, like I said, please pay attention to what you say. Try to be kind at all times. That other one is victimization. From our level, I think we can talk about school bullying and worksite bullying. Being victimized is nothing nice. It's really, really not nice. So, yeah, if you are being victimized in a workplace, we've had a show about it, or okay, please report it to your senior managers. There were also a couple of suggestions from the co-hosts and the people in the audience. If you missed the episode, please go watch it on our YouTube channel. I also encourage the viewers on Facebook to please engage. I also have a very interesting game at the end. I also always have a game. So please, I need your sharp minds to be here. And don't forget to comment. We need to know about your views about what we are talking about. So the other one, the most obvious point, gave financial problems. The reason major life transitions like breakup, unplanned pregnancy, and failing an exam. I remember with me, I don't know why I always come here and just throw in my personal stories, but I remember the very first test that I failed in varsity. That sucked. Like, that sucked. In as much as the whole class didn't perform well, which was something that I used to console myself. Um, it was really bad because the failing concept, I was not used to it. I couldn't deal with failure. Well, having to identify what I couldn't deal with failure. It has been something that I have been working on. I can't say I'm at the level where I want to be, to learn how to deal with failure, but I'm still working on it. So things like that, failing an exam, I'm planning pregnancy, and a breakup could lead to one failing, committing suicide. George, if you can think of other reasons, you can throw them in. The other one, keep poor self-esteem. I've already touched on it. There's also rejection. Um, I can easily give an example. The LGBTQ community. It's one community that is victimized, but I'm happy with how the world is opening up to them. But they've been rejected for so long. Immigrants have been rejected for so long. They are still rejected. Yeah, so rejection could be being rejected by your own family. It's also something. Um, it's something that is happening. There's still that thing you disown you. There's still that thing of you staying in the house with people that you feel like you don't belong with them. Like they are there, but they're not there. So sideline you. I'm looking for a better word, but I can think of sideline you in this case. So yes, rejection is one of the reasons. And the last one, well, it's not really the last one, but one of is discrimination of vulnerable groups. I've already mentioned the LGBTQ community and immigrants. So yes, that's all the causes that we have found during our research. George, you can come in. I see our
I just want to say to our viewers at home to say, there's really much that can be, pointed out from the causes that get to result in such situations. So please do make sure to throw them in the comment section, because we are here to enlighten one another. And like we said, we do research, and we not necessarily professionals, but then there's so much that we can do through having to teach other stuff through researching and sharing this information. So yeah, please make sure to drop down the comments and make sure that you share the live with your friends. And yeah, let's talk about this issue.
Thank you, George. I'm also seeing a comment in the comment section from Sibusi. So, are not living up to people's expectation is also one factor people commit suicide. I think Aki, we experience a lot, especially in the Black culture. After matric, they tend to expect you to go to varsity, after varsity graduate and get a job. So the minute you don't get a job, it's not about the money that you get on the job, but so not going through that whole cycle, that whole planned thing, expectation that people have set for you, can make one feel,
Yeah, because it's a real problem to really be setting the timeline just success
timeline. That's what I was
for
looking
people,
for. Yeah.
Whereas you don't doing that unto someone's life, like you're not the one who has planned out how this pardon?
We are losing, your network is a bit shaky.
Am I back now, or is it still shaking?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, like I was saying, you cannot put timeline to people's lives because you cannot plan for someone's success. You don't know what kind of stumble blocks are there for them, and
but
having
also,
to
it's not only about the people outside. You know, Lerena, we tend to set our own timelines.
Yeah, but then it's more pressure. It's more pressure having to come from the outside. I mean, if you can set a timeline for yourself, you can always, look back to say, you know what, I'm trying this hard, and I'm still gonna continue fighting. But then there's people who cannot see what you are fighting, and they just put those timeline there to say, at this age, you should have 1, 2, 3, and it's really not fair to see, I mean, to have that kind of thing in someone's life, whereas you don't see the other battles that they're fighting in life. So let's not put people cara pressure necessary. I mean, it's good to set goals and wishes for people, but then may they be in a structure where there's so much support when they fall, and just be there for them. Let's not judge about, because it's really not nice, because it results into this topic that we are talking about today.
100%. So I'm also thinking about the goals that I've set for myself, with the timeline attached to it, and I'm just dying. Well, it's funny now because I've learned that the whole timeline thing doesn't work. But my younger self wouldn't understand it, because my younger self thought by the age of 25, I'll be having a husband with 2 kids and a very big mansion with multiple cars and businesses. But we're not even halfway there. But I'm not beating myself, because, I've come so far. The fact that I'm still breathing air, it's actually a privilege. It's a lot to be, there's a lot to be thankful for. So yeah.
And
we are also,
and there's a reason. There's a reason why you got to
I don't know if it's my network or
it didn't just come in your mind. And I think it's my network. The audience will have to excuse us for those technical breakups, but then we're gonna fight it through. We're gonna carry on with the conversation. I was saying, it wasn't really yourself who got to put those thoughts in your mind. It was the influence, and it goes back to
Okay, I think we lost George again. He's still talking about influence, but I do not even know a 25-year-old that is a millionaire and has a house with 2 kids
the
and
timeline thing of having people expecting things from you.
Okay. Pardon us for the network glitches. George did advise that he's experiencing network problems. So expect some turbulence. I'm also expecting load shedding in a few minutes, so there might be an interruption for a few seconds. There's also people at a higher risk of committing suicide. Everyone is capable of committing suicide, but there are also people at a higher risk. The first group is people with bipolar. People with bipolar go through phases called mania and manic. I hope I'm saying them right. So those phases basically mean one gets very excited or very sad. So like abnormally excited and overwhelmingly sad. The sadness can be interpreted as depression. So once one goes through that, that whole phase, it blurs out their judgment. It affects their mood, and yeah, basically the leading reason is, or it blurs out their judgment. So they end up doing things that are harmful to themselves, like attempting to commit suicide or committing suicide because they want to take away the feeling. And then the second group is people that abuses alcohol and drugs. So normally people use alcohol and drugs to escape from their problems, but that is just a temporary fix. And many people are not aware that alcohol have what's this effect, long-term effect on the brain that causes depression. So you might be happy for that 2-3 seconds, but after that you are going to experience depression. And then Leona, it overclouds when they are high or drunk. Their judgment is overclouded. That's why they think they are braver, or they think they just start crying. Is really depressed. 1 minute we are dancing together, you're drinking your alcohol, the next minute you are crying. So yeah, those are the two groups that have been identified as the groups that are at higher risk of committing suicide. George, can you add on the list? Can you think of any group as well?
I think the health related group is the one that is more in risk, and I think you really pointed the main ones that I can really think of. And it's really up to us as the community to be like, we need to be responsible for one another. I mean, you can see where someone is going through some stuff, and especially men, I have to put it out there to say, hormonal problem, and then you just keep on bombarding him casual just to make him to forget about you're not solving his problems, but then you're adding more, and you're making the situation even worse. There's better ways in having to help big about those solutions. So let's take care of one another.
100%. Okay, there goes load shedding. I just want to remind our viewers, listeners, that they're still tuned in Bay Waves, and we are currently talking about suicide. We've identified the causes of suicide, some of the causes of suicide, and then we've talked about what's this? The reasons for the high stats or the increasing suicide rates during COVID times. We've also mentioned a bit about depression, that it's the reason why some people commit suicide in situations where others do not. I just want to encourage everyone. I see we have 6 viewers on Facebook. Please, if 6 of you can share this airing, it will mean a lot to the channel and to Africa as a continent. Because imagine if everyone was getting this information. We're also privileged to get this as research with assistance of professionals. So we just want to share it with the world, and this is because of the increasing numbers of suicide. We need to know what's really causing this. We need to know how to deal with it. We need to know how we can actually stop it from happening. Yeah, I'm actually very dark. It's because of what's this? Load shedding. So please, guys, don't mind me. I'm still here. So yeah. Load shedding.
Darkness, then the miracle.
Hi, welcome South Africa. Actually, this is just a practical example of what is happening in South Africa. These are things that we are trying to address more channeling already stop. So apparently there are warning signs, not apparently, there are actually warning signs for people that commit suicide. There are other people that impulsively commit suicide, but most suicides are premeditated. Like people plan it through, hence you see the suicidal notes. It's not something that just happens in a second. So, which is something that we need to discuss. I also want to share a very personal story um, about somebody that committed suicide in my life. Well, they committed suicide during a time where nobody, actually people thought they were at their happiest. That's why it actually left a very big scar. People left people with confusion. So when they're narrating the story, Barry, the day before they passed on, they Mama Gare Narwa Musulela. So it was his favorite plate. So Mama Gare Musulela, he told the mother, or you know what, mom, I'm eating in this plate for the last time. So the mom thought, okay, you don't like the plate or what? You don't like the plate anymore, because that was his favorite plate. And the mom cooked his favorite meal. But the mom didn't really pay attention to it because it's just only for him to commit suicide the following day. So I need us to talk about such things, the warning signs. People don't really say, hey, I'm going to commit suicide, but they try to communicate them in the most subtle ways, like saying they are going away or they're seeing people for the last time. No, my fellow, but you're sleeping on the same bed. So why would you say my fellow? Like him, he said he's eating in that plate for the last time. Why would he say that? So George, I don't know if you're still here. I also need to hear from our viewers and audience if why do I keep on saying viewers and audience? Our viewers and listeners at home about their views about this whole thing. Why? What are the warning signs that you know of a person that is trying to commit suicide? George.
Yeah, I just want to ask, Kore, you know, in the scenario that you just explained, like, do you ever get to feel like, since it was someone that you do you ever get to feel like maybe the something it was wrong that you could have identified and tried to help the person, or they were really really good in having to hide that they were going through something?
The sad part about that whole situation is that they didn't even leave what's this, a suicidal note. So it's really hard to talk about it. I want to own up the story and say, talk about it more, but I'm not sure if I have permission from the other parties. I would have loved to share it because it's really somebody very, very, very close to me, but I'll need to get permission from the other party for me to speak about it on radio. So what happened with this person is that they were planning to get married during that weekend. It was a very happy mood. It was all nice conversations between the guy and the lady. They were busy planning their wedding. Everything was going well. And then on Friday night, Friday morning, if not during the day, they just committed suicide. So you ask yourself, and then what? I thought you were looking forward to this. They had recently gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Like life was going nice. This person was working, he was known to be a very bubbly person. So it's really confusing. Sometimes we find closure, go to suicide notes because you can really see or know, or okay, this person was going through this and that. But now there is nothing. That is why it's witchcraft because they can't find any reason. Did I answer you, George?
Yeah, and this is the reason why, you know, there's this post, your trend, be kind to people because you'll never know what they're going through, and also make sure to check on your friends and family. And we really need to take that serious, because you'll never know what having to ask someone, or are you okay, like ushapo, like that might be
A lot.
something that can save yeah, it can save somebody's life, because by chance they can try to open up and tell you what they're going through, and you can be of a help at that particular moment. So just really do make sure that you get to check on your friends and family, and
Yes, and please be kind at
be
all times. I'm getting the message, Chagoro, why are your lights bad? Guys, we are experiencing load shedding. To the person helping us with the comments in the comment section, please pin it or just write a comment that we are experiencing load shedding, hence the bad lighting and yeah, the network glitches. I see a couple of comments. Well, two. Guys, do the right thing. We need more people here. And there's a comment from Suicidal saying people who lack self-awareness, people who let the environment dictate their lives are also part of the list. I do agree. Men hide it very well. Well, this is Marvin Napin Kadiming saying, my men hide it very well, no signs or anything. We even laugh and smile during our struggles. Hey, this is sad. This is sad. It's really, really sad. For Motano Tsamaya without even saying goodbye, or yeah, at least when we know, okay, Nanal Matata Chelete or Nabaja or something, like there just has to be something. But if there's nothing, it just leaves people with confusion and guilt, because you just end up thinking, or what if it was me? What if it's something that I said, something I did? That vibe. George, are you still with us?
yes, I'm still here.
Okay, so I'm gonna read some of the warning signs of suicide. One, talking about wanting to die or wanting to kill themselves. Two, talking about feeling empty or hopeless or having no reason to live. Three, talking about feeling trapped or feeling that there are no solutions. Four, feeling unbearable emotional or physical pain. Five, talking about being a burden to others. Six, withdrawing from family and friends. Seven, giving away important possessions. Eight, saying goodbye to family and friends. Nine, putting affairs in order, such as making a will. 10, taking great risks that could lead to death, such as driving extremely fast. 11, talking or thinking about death often. So these are some of the warning signs that we got. So yeah, if you see anybody going through these things, just pay attention to them and follow proper procedures, like seeking help for them or just talking to them. Something that I forgot to mention in the beginning is that last week when we're preparing for this show, I actually made a call to the suicide support line of South Africa. I also called the child line just to see the response rate and how they actually talk like or respond to people's problems on the phone. And I was actually very happy, in as much as I created a fake scenario for them to like explain things properly to me. I was very, very happy with their response. So I'm just looking for the number. I'm sure I have noted it down somewhere. If you are suicidal or you know somebody that is, please contact the following numbers. For the suicidal crisis line is 0800 567 567. This is a toll-free number that is available 24/7 in 11 official languages. So like phone it's still fine. You're gonna find somebody that speaks Spedi that is gonna help you, and it doesn't even require airtime. Those people are very supportive, you guys. I know I was not going through the feelings and all that, but having a conversation with them on the phone educated me. It made me have a better insight about suicide. There's also Childline, which is toll free. It is 116. So when I was on a call with the suicide crisis line people, I I gave them a scenario of me knowing somebody that is suicidal, or how can I help them in a case that I don't have money, or like, yeah, I can't always be there 24/7. So they referred me to the Lifeline offices, or okay, you can try to take them there. They offer free, or well, they'll first assess your situation. So there are people that need free consultations, but if they feel like you qualify to pay for the services, they'll give you a minimum rate. So they also have the offices. They refer to me to the one that is in Pretoria. So you can just check for Lifeline offices near you. If you can't, try calling 012-804-1853. This is Bay Waves, and we are currently talking about suicide. I'm your host, Happiness Rantor, who is in the dark because of the government. We have load shedding, so yes. And also my co-host is saying that he's having a low battery and he's also experiencing load shedding. So he might be out anytime. So please be advised, if you lose George, guys, I'm going to need you full on. I still need you to participate, because this is an African problem. It's not a Bay Waves problem or a happiness problem or a Limpopo problem. It's an African problem. It's the world, the whole world's problem. So let's talk. George, are you still here with
Yeah,
us?
yeah, I'm still here, and I just wanted to ask, I heard you, giving out the number phone, and there's those communities, in Limpopo, there's communities where they are not so much, informed about this kind of information. And you do, say you don't know anything about this number, and yet you're trying to seek help for someone whom you see, or okay, abashapo, and you're trying to get them help, and you just in a situation where you're and you are not so much informed about this, the helpline where people can just simply call and get help. Like, what does one do in that kind of an instance?
Well, where I come from, it's also a village. I know we have people baba Vijama home-based care. They're also trained to deal
Yeah.
with such cases. If they are not, they refer you. So at every clinic, if I'm not wrong, onale my home-based care in case whichever way at clinicing straight. And these home-based care people are people from the community. Abaje batho ba kgolo, so wa kgona le go ya ko ntlong ya bona, o ilo bolela le bona. They signed or a contract, or they took an oath that they'll be there for the people at any time. So if you feel embarrassed to go to the clinic, or cannot afford to go to the clinic, you can identify somebody who is in the home-based care thingy and get in touch with them. If you have access to the internet, you can just type it as raw as you can, or I'm suicidal, and I'm sure there's gonna be the suicidal line there. And then it's always there. I've said the number, I'm gonna say it at the end. I also need the person in the comment section who is responsible for our comments to take note of the numbers so that anybody can easily access them. So it's the suicidal crisis line and the child line. The child line was created for kids well, children under the age of 18 that are experiencing, still feeling suicidal because of other reasons, you can call them and they are not biased until their age. So even if you're 20 and you call the child line, they are still going to help you or refer you to the right people. And yeah, that's just it. Guys, please again, please share the live airing and let's get to talk. Don't just watch. We want to hear what you're thinking. Throw in those questions, throw in those comments, show the live, like there. The heart button is there. Send me some love. I need it right now. I also see a comment from Marvin Nkadimeng saying, I think we need vacations as well. Sometimes we just need a break. This is true. Like sometimes it gets too much. Like you can handle pressure, but you just get to a point where you're like, I can't take it. It's too much. Just now that I can't see you, like I really can't know if you're here or not.
Yeah, I'm still here. The thing that I'm trying to save up my battery by not using the video so that I can just be here a little longer. Hopefully, I just need to comment on that. What Marvin said, or vacation, like it's a need. It's really a need, but then it's yes, it is. And we need to be careful because sometimes it might contribute, because sometimes you might need something so desperately such that you cannot afford, because you can be going through something and feel, okay, vacation can be my escape, and gonna go to finance and you just keep on saying, things will get better, and things don't get better. So sometimes just try not to look so much to the solutions that require financials if you're not that financially stable to take care of yourself. And I'm glad, or he mentioned this, because I remember happiness. I said to you, or there's people who have money and they use money to cover up with it as a temporary solution. And Marvin is right. I mean, vacation is one of those whereby you get to use money to cover up situations. But then if you do not have privileges to such, meditate, man. It doesn't cost a thing to meditate. It doesn't cost a thing to speak to someone. It doesn't cost a thing just to pray about your situations or leave a bit there. So try to also look for those indigenous solutions that you can use to better how you feel about the committing suicide.
Okay, but why the reason why I wouldn't encourage these temporary, go your vacations and whatnot when you're going through that, is because they create a temporary fix. At that moment when you're for vacation, you'll be feeling happy, but what happens when you come back home? So I encourage our people to seek for professional help that is gonna bring a permanent solution. So yeah, but when it gets overwhelming, you go to that vacation. It's actually a need. And then I also want us to talk about the challenges and obstacles around or about suicide. Why is it still a problem? For those who have just joined, well, I cannot see now. Well, it's still my few people. We are still experiencing load shedding, so that's why we have bad lighting and network glitches. So please bear with us. We are talking about suicide. We've addressed a couple of factors about suicide. If you missed it, don't worry. This video will be posted here on Facebook after we are done, like a couple of minutes after it ends. It'll be here on Facebook, so watch it. So the obstacles or challenges around suicide. The reason why suicide is still going on, drastically increasing, is because of one, stigma. There are a lot of stigmas created around suicide that are just making people just whoop. Well, there's a stigma created for people with mental illness. There's a stigma that says people with mental illness or issues do not seek help. So, yeah, that's not always the case. Somebody they are not seeking help, it can be the last straw for them. We did mention this before, or sometimes you find somebody having underlying issues, and when you just come in and say something, it could be the last straw. George, do you agree?
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree with that, because it reminded me of something that I read, today, to say sometimes you need to speak more positive things into when you get to mention the negative things. The negative things, some people take them to heart, and they get to take them as solutions. So we shouldn't really play. I totally agree with that.
Thank you. The people are gone here. I don't know if they left with the electricity or what. But people, we need you here. We are about to start our game. So please go call your friends to call their friends and be here. We want to play this other game that is an educational game about suicide. So please, if you haven't shared this airing, please make sure to share it. And we move on to the second point, which is an obstacle or a challenge about suicide. The data quality. So there is poor surveillance and monitoring of suicide and suicide attempts required to effectively create suicide preventions. So if you check Lady stats, they are not even enough. I know Stats Hey, I don't know if it's Stats SA. Yeah, Stats Hey SA has released people to do the census. George, wait about when.
Yeah, I do see them mo ditseleng, but then they haven't yet came to me, and yeah, like when it comes to stats, like that's another thing, I feel like it also, I think we can do better, man, as a country, because I don't want to be factual. I'm just stating my opinion to say, if right now, because there's this thing already, Lucha Mahala, sometimes they just get to check you once, and then once it's done, then it's done. I feel like there must be a thorough, again, like a strong system in having to record the stats that are put in place, or after this period, may we call them back to hear or whatever, how are they progressing, and just try to even better their situation if they haven't yet improved.
All right, thank you, George. I see the line is breaking. Hey, it's becoming a problem. See, the other people are leaving. Please come back. Go call them if you know them. Anyways, Tabaya senses, I've seen a couple of videos on TikTok, but and the questions are based on socio-economic factors. And honestly, it would have been very, very nice if they included Tabaya suicide on Tabaya 190 census, because now the census are more based on how much people are earning, what they're eating, the living standards. And I think the whole aim, that whole thingy is to identify the problems Jakamo South Africa, or the general living way Jakamo South Africa. But they're leaving out a very important factor, which is suicide. Imagine if those people included Tabaya suicide, they go on and ask people if they have attempted to commit suicide, or they know a person that has committed suicide, the reasons for it. That will create a very better monitoring system, or ba kgone create a preventive method, this whole suicide thing. So if they know what's the problem, they can easily create the solutions. So right now it's just a thing, they don't know what's causing the high rates of suicide in South Africa. So one of the factors also is taboo. Many suicide, why did I just suicide? So now suicide is in my mouth. Many societies don't oftenly discuss suicide, which is a problem. We see it happen almost every single day, but it remains a taboo. We don't want to talk about it. Why? George, are you still here? Okay, I think we've lost George. Anywho, we move on to the treatment, guys. I want us to play a game, and we need more people. The more the people, the better. So please invite your friends to come in here. They should run. They shouldn't walk here. They should run. If I can have double the number that I have on Facebook, please, it'll be a lot fun. So go call your friends or your family to be a part of this. It's a very educational game about suicide. So yeah, there are also treatments that were suggested for suicide. I know it's very weird saying treatments for suicide, but if you have attempted to commit suicide, or you are thinking of suicide, these treatment thingies can actually help you. So the first one is psychotherapy. Psychotherapy, you need to go for therapy. Get a professional, not just your brother or your sister or your friend, because sometimes they might not advise you properly. Get a therapist, a psychologist or psychiatrist, whoever who is suitable for your situation, and get to talk about them. The second one is rehab for people that are going through rehab for alcohol abuse, substance abuse. So if you are abusing alcohol or drugs, you can start a rehab. And then the third one, lifestyle changes. You'll need to adjust your lifestyle in a way that will allow you to get out of the depression zone. I don't have much knowledge about how you can change your lifestyle, but I'm sure if you consult a professional, they can help you with that. And then the last one is medication prescribed by a profession. So avoid over-the-counter medication. I was just reading about it the other time, where you cannot find over-the-counter anxiety or depression meds. All situations are different. Your friend can tell you, this type of medication helped me with my depression or anxiety. Don't just take the weight, because your situation can be different. Consult with a medical profession so that they can give you a prescription. George, you wanted to say something?
Oh yes, actually, it even slipped my mind. And but then just to add on what you are saying, you have stated all the relevant professional route that one has to take, and there's also simpler ways. Because as much as there's those that you have mentioned, I feel like even us as humans, we need uh, to have a culture of trying to talk about things that are bothering. I know it's hard, like it's hard. That is but then there should be that one friend or that one family member that this one will listen to me. They'll never judge me. Those are your angels that you just with them by all means. We can work on having to reduce the numbers for the better. So let's try to talk about these things. And Lorena, let's be responsible. When you see someone as the sharpo, please ensure or you get them help. And yeah.
All right. Thank you for that, George. So there are also strategies to prevent suicide. Um, so the first one on the list is to strengthen your economic support. We have identified one of the reasons or causes suicide is financial pressure or financial strain. So people will take away their lives after a job loss or something. So do not learn to depend on one source of income. Whenever you can, create other sources of income so that it's a strategy to prevent suicide. And the second one, learn and teach coping and problem solving skills. I feel like this should be included in our syllabus, honestly. I know life orientation, they do try to
Yeah.
give us this and that, but the education around it, it's not so strong enough. And I think this should be the culture that we also adopt in Black families. We barely talk about suicide. We barely talk about coping and problem solving mechanisms. So that is something that we need to talk about. George, let me get to be personal. When I'm from Kahare, how did they teach you to deal with problems or cope with them?
Even up to this day, I'm not a person who family in terms of having to speak about problems, but then I have taught myself, and I'm still teaching myself and including my family isn't a right way. You're opinion about something or someone in the family is struggling or something, and yet but we cannot see it or try to be there for them. So I have learned so much about it such that I've seen the little impact that I can do Nakabana, by trying to initiate it, because in order for something to start, someone needs to initiate it. So I'm trying to put it out there so that for the future generation it can be a norm for my family and for the rest of the world, I hope.
So how would you teach your children how to deal with their problems? Like, uh, make me your child right
well
now.
well
Let's just say I'm an eight. Wait, I'm an 8-year-old. How would you teach me to
yeah.
deal with my problems as an 8-year-old?
Well, okay, here's what I think about this thing. It's not really more about, for me, I don't think it's really more about having to teach someone when they have a problem they must talk or do 1 2 3. It's more about having to create a safe space and have an open relationship with the people that are close to you. I mean, if I have an older daughter or a son, I need to make them feel comfortable around me to talk about anything that may be bothering. It may be as simple as like having to ask ngwana I just or like, how was school? Ke mang na go tshwenya? Mpotše ena, ke go ko mogala. Like those kind of simple stuff, they get to create a safe space and a comfortable environment for your kids, and they get to grow up with it. And when they get to grow up, they'll be able, to confront or to come to you as a parent to say, I'm facing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, because you have that kind of foundation and a relationship with your child. So I feel like that's something that I want to do for my kids once I get to have one.
100%. I totally agree with you. One should always create a safe space for people around them. It shouldn't only be your children, but your friends and family members, your colleague. They should know, or at good judge, there is that safe place. We are not going to be judged or whatsoever. Another one that, okay, for me, one of my coping thing is that they taught me from a very young age was prayer. It's just said that that was the only one that they taught me. But I really, really like it, and I want to carry it on to my kids and anyone that seeks advice from me. But I obviously want to add on that list. You've mentioned Tabayao Creator, a safe space. I want that for anyone to know, it's okay to cry, it's okay to vent, it's okay to do anything, like be open with me, anything that you want to talk about, and stay less judgmental. It's very hard, especially coming from the environment that I come from. It's very hard to stay neutral, but I try every single day to educate myself about different cultures and things that I am not well knowledgeable about. And then I can also see my judgment going down every time. I'm proud of it. It's still a journey that I'm working on. The other one, go strengthen your social circle. So strengthening your social circle doesn't mean get more friends. It just basically means the friends that you have, create a strong connection with them, such in a way that you'll know, or what, I actually have a family outside my bloodline. You can rely on those people. When you're having a problem, you can easily talk to them or easily call them for help. So strengthen your social circle. Those are the people that are going to be the first ones to see if you're not okay. Your mom and dad, they're probably going to be far away when you're experiencing problems, especially the mojolo and all that. But your friends are going to be the first people to know and see. So strengthen your circles, make healthy relationships with other people.
Yeah,
Can want to come in?
Yeah, can I just add on that? There's this thing that at a certain point it became fashionable, or people are calling themselves the introvert, and the limiting the space from people. It's okay. It's okay, or when you love your own space, you like to spend much of your time alone. But then it's try to allow people into your space, because there's this thing where you create a safe space for people, but then you cannot really force someone onto your space. So please, if you get to tell yourself, like for me personally, I'd like to say, try to, break those barriers and try to engage more with people, because there's there's this thing already when people are more isolated, like you are unlikely to see what they're going through, honestly. And if we get to be in a space already, you get to spend more time with people and not isolate yourself. It's easy, for other people to see, or okay, happiness are sharp, George are sharp, and then they can jump in. So let's also allow people into our lives, because someday they can be the people who get to help us through certain situations. Let's not make introvert a fashionable thing whereby it can cost us at some point in life.
100%, I do agree with you. I've never really understood that whole trendy loner thingy that was going on. I'm like, think about the cover, guys. Like, how do you
Yeah,
just want to be isolated like that? For that, to me, it screams Jonah Jackie. It's one of those warning signs that we're talking about. But yeah, people are wired differently. But I know it can be that whole situation of when I just prefer being alone, but at least get that one friend there. And let's get to our game. How? We are the people. So I need every single one of you, no matter you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, please participate. So we are going to be playing a game called Do and Don't. So this game, how it's going to work, I'm going to uh, ask you a question, George, and my
yeah,
audience, and then you're just going to say you are going to do it or not.
yeah.
So the questions are based on a situation where you are dealing with somebody that is suicidal. So yeah, get on your tabs. Please share the area so that we can get more people to play this game. I promise it's very fun and educational. So the first one, George, if you're dealing with a suicidal person or somebody that looks like they are suicidal, one,
Yeah.
would you ask them directly if they are suicidal?
No, I wouldn't ask them directly. I'll never do that, because it's a judgmental question, and you do not want to make those people feel or they are being judged for being a certain type of way. Hence,
All
we got to speak about creating a safe space. Yes.
right. Okay. And so the people watching, especially on Facebook, would you ask someone if they are suicidal? Give your answer and give the reason. Well, our psychologists suggest, or not even suggested, are saying you should ask if somebody is suicidal. Asking them, it doesn't plant the suicidal idea in them. So you are encouraged to ask somebody if they are suicidal. And then the second one, oh, so George, you learned already
Yeah.
that one is not right. You should ask them, okay?
But don't you think, or it will, because I feel like, or sometimes or something directly, it doesn't give them a comfortable space, or George I'll obviously say no, because like I feel attacked in a certain way. So you should, corner, so that I can relax and
It depends on the
be
relationship,
comfortable.
honestly.
But
But
if the yeah, but
it
if the
depends on the
professionals are saying that, I mean,
who are you? I feel like it depends on the relationship. And there's this thing, if you don't want to be helped, you won't get help. So whenever you can just try your best to offer help. And yeah. So the professionals are suggesting or directly if the person is suicidal. The second one, would you tell them to get over it or snap out of it? Yes or no?
Ask the question again.
Would you tell them to get over it or snap out of it? Let's just say somebody's telling you, I'm depressed or I'm having anxiety or I'm suicidal. Would you tell them, get over it or snap out of it, shake off the feeling, you know?
Oh no, I'll never do that. I'll never do that because it's neglecting and trying to invalidate how they feel. So you need to also, like, sometimes, if not all the time, try to show what they're telling you it's authentic, and try to listen to people when they're talking sometimes, because only take them to sometimes may give them the reason or what's the point or
Okay. All right. I see an answer for the first question. Yeah, ask them directly if they're suicidal. Munagiri Takato is saying, I wouldn't ask if they're suicidal because that's a trigger on its own. I usually just ask if they're okay or not. Well,
yeah.
I also, when I saw this thing, I was like, oh, what? Actually, it was one of the things that shocked me during research, but you should, professionals are suggesting or encouraging you to ask them directly if they are suicidal. Mashrodi Mampane is saying, both sound so harsh. I'll try to listen and offer whatever help I can. And then Shoni, goodbye. Please don't leave. Participate in this game. Participate. Let's play this game together. And the third one, Ere, if they tell you in confidence, like this is your friend, if they tell you in confidence that they are suicidal, would you keep it a secret? Like what would you keep it a secret? Remember, this person trusts you with all their secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I would do. I can keep it a secret. Actually, I must, because it also drives back to the issue of embarrassment, because some people don't want to feel embarrassed. So you rather keep what they're telling you confidential, but then at the same time try to help them by all means without having to disclose to the public what they're going through.
It's actually wrong. No matter if they tell you in confidence or not, always seek help for them. It doesn't mean you're gonna go to Facebook and say, yo, Chomiami is suicidal, help. You could either go to the parents or go to a professional. Like I was saying already, I called the suicidal crisis line and I told them that I have a friend that wants to commit a suicide, just to see how they would respond. And they were very helpful with telling me or guiding me how to help my friend, and they even recommended the lifeline offices where my friend could get help for free. So yeah, you should never ever keep it a secret.
Happiness, can I beg to differ? Because sometimes we're gonna try to seek help for them. For instance, say you go to their parents and you get to tell them, and only to find out their parents are one of those where they get to go to them and be judgmental about those, instead of trying to really help them. They get to and make them feel worse about this. Like it's really
in the case where somebody tells you something in confidence, they trust
you,
and I feel like they've already explained a lot of things, like you'd know by then the relationship between them and their parents. So if you feel like their family is not a safe space, then you can call the professionals. It's a toll-free number. I've already said it. If there's anybody from our team in the comment section, please note down this number. It's the Suicide Cross Line, 0800 567 567. And there's also the Child Line, which is 116. Both these lines are available 24/7, and they're offered in 11 official languages of South Africa. Back to the comment section, Shoni Walker, you must keep it a secret. The secret is a secret, guys. No, but this, I feel like if you're keeping it a secret, you're just waiting for the person to die, because how else would you be offering them help without taking it out? There's also Masodi saying, I wouldn't keep it a secret. Imagine honoring such a secret. Oh, I'd find help for them. They'll thank me when they're better. It's not like I'm going to publish it to the public, but to their loved ones. So yeah, let's move on to the next point. As George, we are running out of time, so I'm gonna ask you to just say yes or no. Unless if I ask you to explain, then you can explain. Say you know how they feel. So they're describing, I mean, they're telling you or they're depressed or suicidal. Would you say you know how they feel? Say you also experience the same thing. Would you say you know
yes,
how they feel?
I'll say yes. Yes.
Okay. My people in the comment section, what would you say? I mean, would you say it or not? Would you say, hey, I know how you feel. I've also been through depression, or I've tried to commit suicide. Would you do it? I'm just waiting for a comment from the comment section so that I can tell you what the professionals are saying. Okay, it's another interaction. So the professionals are saying, no, don't make it about you. Even though the circumstances may look the same, but they are never the same. So every situation is different. So you can never actually know how somebody feels about a situation. So in the cases where somebody is telling you about suicide or depression, anxiety, or any mental issue, just listen and try to offer empathy versus you trying to relate to every moment of theirs. The fifth one, diagnose or second guess their feelings. George, we've had a couple of series about depression and mental health issues. So I'm sure you now have more information about those conditions. So if your friend is to tell you or tell you about what they're going through, would you diagnose them or second guess their feelings?
Second guessed in what context, actually?
Second guess, just saying, okay, just saying, or okay, you could just be feeling like it's just temporary anxiety. Yeah. It's gonna go off. That's second guessing their feelings. That's how I understand this whole thing.
Okay, if it's
telling them, or no, this is not really depression, it's just you going through sadness.
I won't second guess. I won't second guess. That's my answer.
What to diagnose?
I'd rather diagnose than to second guess.
Don't do any, do not diagnose unless you're a professional. And yes, you are right. Do not second guess their feelings. 6, would you cancel them? Offer counseling for them, to them?
Yes, I will be professional. Okay. I will counsel them and advise them to get a professional one.
Wow. You are not advised to cancel them because you are not trained for that. You can You can have a conversation with them, but do not try to cancel them, rather refer them to a medical profession. So don't cancel them in as much as you can know all the information in the world. If you are not a professional or somebody that is trained to do that job, avoid doing it and encourage them to seek professional counseling. Another one, if it gets overwhelming, would you step back?
What's the question again?
Okay. If it gets overwhelming, would you step back?
No.
Okay, let's just say in the case where you are also having like, say depression is a because it has been proven that it is somewhat contagious. So if you are in a depressive environment for so long, you also end up being depressed. So if you feel like Luena, in a way, or it's just too much for you, you wouldn't step back. Confirm, George.
No, I want to step back.
Okay. Well, the answer to this, you shouldn't ghost, ignore, or avoid them, but you should set boundaries. Like if it gets to a point where you feel like you cannot handle it anymore, seek other help for them and just step back. But stepping back doesn't mean you need to avoid the person or ignore them or ghost them. You are still there, just that you create a space also for you to protect your own mental health. And then would you offer them empathy or sympathy? Okay, I don't know if we've lost George. Well, back into the comment section. I see Spusiso is saying no. Second guessing their feelings will be invalidating their feelings. You are correct, Spusiso. And saying nope, you stepping back is you telling them you give up on them. But stepping back, like I've already said, you are not gonna be ignoring them or avoiding them or ghosting them. You'll just be creating a boundary as well to protect your own mental health. I cannot think of a scenario right now, but yeah, I think I understand what the professionals are saying. And Ashwari is saying, I think I wouldn't be the best support system when battling with my own demons. That's true. Everyone goes through their own patas. So sometimes it can be too much carrying somebody's and yours. This is one of the reasons why people are taking out their lives. And the other one, would you offer them empathy over sympathy? I'll be waiting for the responses in the comment section and also explain why. I see Spusisa is saying sympathy over empathy. Please drop down your reasons. If anybody feels the same way, I also drop down your comment about why you think it's sympathy over empathy or empathy over sympathy. Well, our professionals are saying you should offer them empathy over sympathy. And there's the other one, make sure you have an answer for everything. So yeah, they're probably gonna be asking you, why am I going through this? They're gonna be asking you a lot of questions. As professionals are saying, you shouldn't try to have an answer for everything, but just be there. Another point them out to things they should be grateful for. For instance, say there's war in Ukraine. Be thankful for what you have and realize other people have it worse. I don't know if you guys have this one. They're saying point point them out to things they should be grateful for. You can also give like worst scenarios about what people are going through, like saying you see the hobos in the streets, be grateful that you have a house, see people have it worse out there. Would you do that? I'll be waiting for your answer in the comment section. And lastly, if you feel you can't ask the person to seek help, would you take steps yourself to alert proper people? I think this one we've already addressed it when we were talking about the secret. Yes, always ask for, seek professional help for your friends or your family. It is available for free. Just dial those numbers. They're there in the comments section. And that is how we wrap up this show tonight. Also, to add on that list, act on your instincts. If you feel like somebody is being suicidal or they could be trying to commit suicide, please act on it. And don't forget to be kind. Always be kind to yourself and to other people. We are experiencing a lot of challenges, social, academic, economic pressures as human beings, adults. And the last thing that we want is for a harsher environment on top of this environment that we have that is full of injustices. It's full of matitas, we know them. So please be kind to yourself, be kind to other people. And that's just it for tonight. If you want to know more about this topic, make sure that you hit us up in the comment section if there's anything that we didn't cover. And yeah, if you have any question, then we'll have our professional get to answer all the comments or questions. From me and the rest of the team, it's a good night. Enjoy your night. Don't forget to tune in again next week at Tuesday at 7 p.m. And also subscribe to your YouTube channel. It's Bold News Radio. We're also here on Facebook, Bold News Radio. Like and follow our page. From the team and me, good night. We love you so much.